education in one way and I did it in another way. We came together after the campaign with the following position. We understand that in a highly competitive global economy, we need the best educated workforce in the world. That in America, we need to be encouraging people to get a good education, not discouraging them. That it is absolutely insane and unfair that hundreds of thousands of bright young people in Vermont, in New Mexico, who have the qualifications, who have done well in high school, are unable to go to college for one reason and one reason alone: their families lack the money. And we also know that many people who have left school deeply in debt. So this is what we are going to fight for, and with your help, we're going to bring about. We have agreed that public colleges and universities should be tuition-free. Every family earning $125,000 a year, those families will be able to send their kids to public colleges and universities tuition-free. It not only means, obviously, that people are going to be leaving school with much less debt or no debt at all, but this is what it also means. I grew up in a family, didn't have a lot of money. My dad dropped out of high school at 16. My mother never went to college. And that's the story of millions of families in America. And we have today all over this country children who are growing up in low-income families whose parents never went to college. And when they look at the future, they do not in a million years think that they will ever be able to go to college and make it into the middle class. When we say to those children and their parents and their teachers that if those boys and girls study hard and do well in school, regardless of the income of those families, yes, those kids are going to make it to the university. That transforms education. How many people here are dealing with student debt? Raise your hand, please. What kind of interest rates do you have?
6.8%.
What do you got? How much? 11, 13%. What Secretary Clinton and I understand, that at a time when you can go out and buy a new car at 1 or 2% interest rates, when you can refinance your home at 3 or 4%, it is insane and unfair to be paying 9, 10, 11% interest rates on the student loan. So what we believe is that everybody in this country who has student debt, among other things, should be able to refinance that debt at the lowest interest rates they can find. Something else that we believe in, which is extremely important. I have been active over the years in expanding a program called the National Health Service. Well, most people don't know what it's about. But what that program is about, it says to people who are in medical school, nursing school, dental school, whatever, that if you are prepared to practice your profession in a medically underserved area, the federal government will forgive your debt. This country is in desperate need of great teachers, of great child care workers, of people who are going to get involved in law enforcement. We need great people entering public service. And in my view, if you are prepared to do that, the government should be prepared to forgive your debt. Now, one of the other major differences between Secretary Clinton and Mr. Trump is a very, very profound one. I am a member of the U.S. Senate Committee on the Environment and the Senate Committee on Energy.
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters, I have talked to scientists all over our country and all over the world. And what they say in a virtually unanimous voice is climate change is real. It is caused by human activity, and it is already doing devastating harm in our country and around the world. And this is what they also say, and this is pretty scary stuff. What they say is they have in fact underestimated the speed at which the planet is warming. And that if we do not get our act together and transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy, what we will be seeing is more drought, more floods, more extreme weather disturbances, more acidification of the oceans, more rising sea levels, and, according to the CIA, more global conflict as people fight over limited natural resources. That is what the scientists tell us, and that is what Hillary Clinton and I and you understand. But amazingly, we have a presidential candidate named Mr. Trump who rejects science, who believes that climate change is a hoax.
From China.
So if for no other reason but the future of this planet, which is a pretty big reason, you should be voting for Hillary Clinton. When 28 million Americans have no health insurance, and even more are underinsured with high deductibles and high copayments. At a time when we pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, and the pharmaceutical industry is ripping us off every single day, Mr. Trump has a brilliant idea, and obviously it's brilliant because it comes from Mr. Trump, who we all know is a genius. And his brilliant idea is to throw 20 million Americans off of health insurance by ending the Affordable Care Act. Hillary Clinton has a different idea. And her idea is that we should double funding for community health centers, which will make primary health care and dental care and mental health counseling available to millions more people around the country, and that those clinics will also provide the lowest cost prescription drugs available in America. I do not have to tell anyone in New Mexico about Mr. Trump's ideas on immigration. His ideas are that we should sweep up, I suppose in the middle of the night, some 11 million undocumented people. Mr. Trump, that is never going to happen. In fact, we're going to do the very opposite. I remember about a year ago or so, I was in Phoenix talking to some young Latinos, some teenagers and some who were younger than that. And with tears in their eyes, they described to me the fear that they carried with them all of the time, that one day they would leave school and go home and find that their dad or their mom has been arrested. We have 11 million undocumented people in this country living in fear and living in the shadows. Our job now is to pass comprehensive immigration reform and a path toward citizenship. And there's another issue that we have got to deal with. And that is that every person here today and every American should be ashamed of the fact that we have more people in jail than any other country on earth. 2.2 million. We are spending $80 billion a year at the local, state, and federal level, locking up 2.2 million fellow Americans. Hillary Clinton understands, and I understand, that for our young people, it makes so much more sense to be investing in jobs and education rather than jails or incarceration. She understands, as I do, that the American people are tired of looking at videos of unarmed African Americans being shot by police. She knows, I know, and you know that we need real police department reform all across this country. I was a mayor for 8 years, and I worked closely with my police department in Burlington, Vermont, and I work with police all over the country. And the average police officer is hardworking, is honest, and has to do an enormously difficult job. Not easy being a cop today. But like any other public official, when a police officer breaks the law, that officer must be held accountable. Friends, real change in this country has never come easily. Nobody ever allows for change. People have got to fight for change. And in my view, the great struggle that we have in front of us right now is taking on the greed and recklessness of Wall Street, of the drug companies, of the fossil fuel industry, of corporate America, and I'm telling them that this country belongs to all of us and not just a handful of multinational corporations. That's not going to be an easy fight, and that's not going to be an easy fight because these people have unlimited money and unlimited power. But what I believe is when we stand together, when we do not allow Trump and his friends to divide us up, when we come together as black and white and Latino, as Asian American, Native American, gay and straight, people born in this country, people coming from other countries, when we stand together, yeah, we can take on the billionaire class and bring it up. Number one,
she does go with what the nation.
Hillary Clinton must be elected on November 8th. Everybody get out and vote, get your friends to vote, your uncles and your aunts to vote. But number two, equally important, we have got to roll up our sleeves and fight to transform this country. And that means being active the day after the election. This is the wealthiest country in the history of the world, and it is not acceptable that the vast majority of that wealth rests with the 1%. We can do better. We must do better. Let's go forward and transform